drug prices down, not 30 or 40%, which would be great, not 50 or 60, no. We're going to get them down 1,000%, 600%, 500%, 1,500%. I was so proud of myself because I worked very hard. In pharmaceuticals, drug prices went down for the first time in 28 years. Think of that.
U.S. President Donald Trump unveiled a bold plan on Tuesday to slash prescription drug prices through aggressive import restrictions. Speaking at a White House event alongside Republican lawmakers, Trump vowed to pressure foreign pharmaceutical companies into lowering their prices, saying drug companies will have a lot of problems if they don't agree to bring prices down. He announced a proposed 200% tariff on imported drugs, aimed at boosting U.S. drug manufacturing and cutting reliance on foreign supply chains. Trump made it clear he intends to wield trade policy as leverage, declaring, "We are going to get drug prices down."
The biggest thing you can say, and I told Mike today, I said, Mike, there's one thing where I don't believe we can lose. So at the end of my first term, I was so proud of myself because I worked very hard. In pharmaceuticals, drug prices went down for the first time in 28 years. Think of that. First time in 28 years they went down. You know what they went down? 1/4 of 1 point. Little much. The line was almost straight. It was like key, but it went down. First time in many years, 28, I think. And I was so proud I called a news conference to announce that drug prices have gone down for the first time in many years. And I thought it was great, but then I did something much better. And this is what you have to run on. I have a friend who has a serious weight problem. Serious. He's brilliant, but extremely heavy. I'm being nice. And he takes Ozempic, or as they call it, the fat drug. And he's a brilliant guy. He's rich, tough, highly neurotic. He's a mess. He's a total mess. But he is brilliant and rich. And he was in London, and he calls me like, President. He always used to call me Donnie. Now he calls me President. That's good. I like that better. He goes, President, what's going on? I just bought the Ozempic for $88. And in New York, I pay $1,300. Same factory, same company that makes it, same everything. $88 to $1,300. He said almost $1,300. And I explained to him that that's the way it's been for many, many years, where people actually go to Europe in order to buy drugs. When they come back, they'll load it up. In fact, sometimes they get arrested for having so much they think they're drug addicts. They just buy months of supply because it's sometimes 1/10, 1/8, 1/5, 1/2. It's a tremendous difference. And this is for the people in this room, because this is something that nobody else can do. We're going to get the drug prices down, not 30 or 40%, which would be great, not 50 or 60. No, we're going to get them down 1,000%, 600%, 500%, 1,500%. Numbers that are not even thought to be achievable, because I've used a certain talent that I have and convinced the drug companies that you have no choice. The drug companies were selling drugs, same company, in Europe and other places, based on what Europe told them to sell them at. And they said, let America pick up the difference, and I wouldn't let it happen. I wouldn't let it happen. So I invoked what's called a favored nations provision, so that we will pay the same price as the lowest nation anywhere in the world. And drugs will come down, like from, as an example, $1,300 in the case I gave you. They'll come down from $1,300. Now, in the world, they'll go up a little bit. Not as much as you think, because the world is bigger than the United States in terms of population, as you probably know. But it will go up. and maybe it'll go up instead of $88 or $90, it will go up to 110 or 120 or 140. But we're going to come down to 140. So you're going to have it coming down from $1,300 to 140, 150, 160. What difference? I mean, somewhere big. And it'll be, serious. It'll be numbers that nobody can even imagine. That's going to have a huge impact on Medicaid, Medicare, even Social Security. It's going to have a huge impact on everything. So I just want you to know that that's one of the things that you have, and they'll never be able to take it away from you. When I said no tax on tips, Kamala got just killed. We won Nevada by a lot. They have 99.9% of the people work in hotels, right?
Initially, he said the tariffs wouldn't kick in for another year. But more recently, he suggested a phased approach starting with a smaller tariff as early as August 1st and increasing it gradually.
We have a big announcement. AstraZeneca, the big drug company, is going to spend $50 billion, just announced $50 billion in the United States in order to build various places all over the country, big manufacturing plants, pharmaceutical plants all over the country, so that's an honor. And he said they did that because of the election and because of the fact that the tariffs are placed. So they're building their facilities in New York. $50 billion, that's a big investment. And it's going to be a very good investment. I have no doubt about it. So thank you to AstraZeneca.
Over 60% of U.S. adults fill at least one prescription every year, and the number rises steeply with age. According to the CDC, 9 in 10 Americans over 65 depend on prescription drugs to manage chronic health issues. Yet for millions, the soaring cost of medicine stands in the way of treatment. A study by the American Association of Retired Persons, AARP, found that nearly half of adults age 50 and older have either skipped prescriptions due to cost or know someone who has. Prescription drug prices in the U.S. are the highest in the world, according to the Department of Health and Human Services. A major factor is the country's dependence on foreign manufactured medicines. Many widely used drugs in America are produced overseas. Over the last 2 decades, pharmaceutical imports have more than doubled from $65 billion in 2006 to $151 billion by 2019. These imported drugs treat a wide range of conditions, including cancer, arthritis, schizophrenia, blood clots, osteoporosis, and obesity.
There are clearly problems with PBMs, and the worst problem is if the PBMs and Big Pharma are colluding. If the PBMs and Pharma are colluding to make the underlying pharmaceutical prices even higher and not complain about the basic pharmaceutical prices, so that they have a bigger margin that they can negotiate for their clients so that they can get a bigger fee, then you have both Pharma and PBMs engaged in a essentially collusive enterprise to cheat the American consumer. That behavior we need to get rid of. But the idea that we need to get rid of PBMs when they're the only significant structural pushback on Pharma's pricing, I think would be a real mistake. And when I'm seeing Big Pharma, knowing that everybody's mad at them, running all these ads, throwing PBMs in the way of public irritation, as if Pharma doesn't control its own pricing.